there, I'm Angela Breidenbach, and I'm having the joy of introducing all of my sister authors from the Blue Ribbon Brides collection. And tonight we get to meet Darlene Franklin. She is a real inspiration to me. I've known her for, we think, somewhere between 8 and 10 years. We couldn't remember the first conference we met at. But Darlene has written a book called A Taste of Honey. And since honey is one of my favorite foods, I love this delightful little novella. It's set at the Vermont State Fair in 1896. And the story is about Edith Grace has had free access to a neighbor's honey that is the secret ingredient in her acclaimed baked goods. Winning a blue ribbon at the fair will help start her own bakery. But Grant Oscar has taken over his father's land and has other plans for the wildflower field and hives. And the first thing that does for me is takes me right back to Winnie Pooh. I love it because it just puts me in this happy place. Sorry, I had to. Best-selling author Darlene Franklin's greatest claim to fame is that she writes full-time from a nursing home. She lives in Oklahoma near her son and his family and continues her interest in playing the piano and singing, books, good fellowship, and reality TV. In addition to writing, she is an active member of the Oklahoma City Christian Fiction Writers, American Christian Fiction Writers, and the Christian Authors Network with me. She has written over 50 books and more than 250 devotionals. Her historical fiction ranges from Revolutionary War to World War II, from Texas to Vermont. You can find Darlene online at darlenefranklinwrites.com. That's DarleneFranklinWrites.com. Welcome, Darlene, and I'm going to turn it over to you and the book club at the Vine at Faith Church in Dyer, Indiana. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thank you, Angie.
Yeah.
Oh, ladies.
Hi.
Oh, am I supposed to start this off? I was waiting for your questions.
Well, tell us where you got the idea for the story.
Well, I knew I wanted to write about Vermont because Vermont has become my go-to state. I grew up in New England, in Maine, actually, but I wrote for Heart Song Presents. Were any of you acquainted with that book club from Barber? They published romances, historical and contemporary, that were about 175 pages long. And I wrote about 12 books for them overall. But 8 of those books were set in Vermont. So I continued. Since then, I've written about 4 or 5 more books also set in Vermont. And A Taste of Honey was one of them. And I chose a time period, 1896, because that was a time period I hadn't written about yet. And it was a good setting for, it's just a time period that interested me, and and honey occurred to me because, well, it was a good homey topic.
One you could dip your finger into.
Yeah. Did you have experience with honey or bees or anything like that?
No. To be honest, no. I haven't.
So you must have done a lot of research about that then.
Well, I looked up what beehives were made of, what the earlier beehives were like, because they didn't used to be like, they were not like they are today with the white boxes and I think there's they look like mesh wire that they pull out, or the honeycomb or whatever that they pull out, and it wasn't like that. But I looked for an explanation that the look was the easiest for me to explain myself. Does that make any sense? I looked for one that was realistic for the time, but that I could understand well enough to describe it. It's amazing what you could do by research, yes.
Yeah. So there was a couple terms I wrote down that it was once, I couldn't figure out what a super was and what a log gum was. I mean, I guess I assumed the log gum was a log, but can you explain that a little better, or?
A log gum, I think it's like a hollowed out log. My impression of it is it's like a hollowed out log. that, and you know, like a stump, perhaps. And the super is I think it's the bowl they put on top of it, or some kind of a container that the bees can go in and out of. But you're right, I don't have it pictured real exactly, but
Gotcha.
now another time I should bring an illustration, see if I can find one from one of those research sites.
So, considering, and this is more of a general question, considering the amount of books that you have written, how long have you been writing?
I started writing in 1991, but my first book was published in 2005. Wow. So I started publishing 12 years ago.
So is your genre, is it mostly like historical romance or?
It's mostly historical romance. I've also written contemporary romance, cozy mystery, and devotionals.
Okay. Wow. And there was a number of devotionals that you've written, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I've contributed to magazines, to collections. Barbara has a collection coming up in 2018 that I believe is called Daily Whisper of Wisdom or something like that for 2018. And that was my latest group effort that I contributed to. I've also written standalone books that were entirely by myself. One was based on the hymn, It Is Well With My Soul. Another one was on the books of Genesis and Exodus. Another one was a study of Matthew that takes place during Lent. So if any of you were interested, this is the ideal time of year to look at that one.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's A Reader's Journey Through Matthew.
Okay.
That's the Lent one?
Is that the Lent?
Sorry?
The Lent?
It's designed, it's a 6 to 7 week study, so it's designed for the length of Lent, yes.
So, and this is more of a statement, more of a general statement, but I just wanted, everybody's journey, how different it is, and where God places us, and just the background information. I thought, how amazing is it that God uses you exactly where you are to be writing where you are. I mean, I don't know the type of facility that you're necessarily in, but in my mind, I think how amazing that is that God uses you to intrigue somebody maybe that doesn't necessarily know or walk with God, and where they placed you. If you're still, whether it's romance or, whatever type of book that you're writing, that God is the center and the focus, and I think that's amazing.
Thank you. It is an exciting journey to be here. It's not where I expected to be or wanted to be. I would like my health to be better so I could write long, important books, But my niche seems to be writing novellas, which I do with regularity, and I think I do them well, if I do say so myself.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm thankful for the opportunity that writing is something you can do, that you almost have more opportunities the older you get. You certainly have a lot more experience to draw from, a life experience to write stories about. And it's something, as long as I have internet, access to the internet and a computer, I can write and publish. And although internet access can be a problem at times, it still works, such as figuring out Skype. Hi, Angie.
You did it. Yeah.
So, any final question?
Was there any inspiration, any persons in particular that inspired your characters, Edith and Grant?
Trying to think. Not really. There's always a bit of myself in the characters, and right at this minute I can't think what about them. What was that? I'm sorry.
I can tell you what I
terrible
think.
of me to say.
No,
but they
no.
weren't real close to my heart.
I think, Darlene, in your novella, as your friend, I see I see that little sassy Spitfire in you.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, a little
she
gal,
calls herself my friend.
and I called you a
She
sassy
is. She's
Spitfire.
a wonderful friend.
I think I see her. You know, when she's going after Grant in the field, and she's trying to protect her dream. I think you do that every day, and I think the inspiration that you have. All of us have difficulties in our lives, but they all look different. And what I've heard from people, and I heard this from elders in my own family, where they wanted to just sit down in a rocking chair and be done, nursing home or not. Just I've retired, I'm done. And what your character did is what you do. I'm not done. I've got some dreams left to live, and you're not getting in my way. And I think that's
Thank you very much, Angie.
Well, girl, you keep dreaming.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank you for your time, ladies. I enjoyed it very much.
And then
Thank you.
One of our ladies just asked. She said she was hoping for a recipe.
Yeah.
It sounds like
I'm hungry reading this.
I have found a recipe or two that I put up on various sites. Of course, I don't come up with it. I look them up again online if I am looking for a recipe on how to make an apple honey muffin. I would look it up online, and I've been told I can copy those as long as I credit the recipe source.
Oh.
So that's where I would go to look, but I don't have any of my own now.
well, maybe
I can't do any baking here.
maybe you should give your book to the cooks there and let them be inspired by your book to get some of those apple honey muffins.
I should do that, and I should also give her my book that's on the muffin shop.
Oh,
So
tell us
she can
about
make
that.
some of those muffins.
Tell us what's
Yeah.
the title of that one.
That's Saving Felicity.
Saving
It's
Felicity.
it's like Kitchen Nightmares, only it's for a bed and breakfast. He goes to rescue the failing bed and breakfast.
Oh, that's awesome.
So.
reality show.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm a big fan of the long-running Survivor. I can't wait for the Legends of the Game that's coming up in the next session.
Uh-huh.
I don't watch as much as I used to, thanks to my roommate. Right, recently I've been watching a show about hunters. Have you been watching? It's on Wednesday nights during the Survivor time slot. That has real law enforcement officials chasing ordinary citizens.
Wow.
And they have 28, if they could stay on the run for 28 days without getting caught, they're going to earn $250,000.
Yeah.
So far, 2 couples are left on the run.
Wow.
Fascinating. I'm also mystery.
Well, ladies,
Yeah.
we have to say goodbye to Darlene
Yes.
now. But
Bye.
thank you so much for being with us. And you can find her at darlenefranklinwrites.com. And I'm going to turn the recorder off, and you can ask her any last questions while I get our next author on, which is Jennifer Ali. So thank you,
Okay.
Darlene.
Thank you, Angie.